Welcome everyone to this channel about SimCity BuildIt. New update of the game. As usual, after a major version, it was time for a minor one, as it has been. But what did surprise me is the version number. An update of the game, in any case, short to tell, although I am going to explain something interesting as an introduction. Let's start this review. My name is Atlantis, and I belong to the Isla Atlas Club. As I told you in the introduction, a minor update that surprised me with its minor version number, the 7th, because it is usually a somewhat lower number, between 3 and 5, and it was a 7. This indicates a little bit how much the game is really moving internally, and this is good, very good. Does this update contain any novelties? Well, yes, but nothing of much interest for normal gamers. First of all, I would like to thank Legionman and Boj, who, with the information from both of them, have helped me to prepare this analysis. Let's start and I'll explain it to you. Let's analyze version 1.53.7, a minor release that is available on March 5th for download, although it was finalized on February 26, and it is development version 1.22.261. Let's start with novelties. And before we start, I am going to make an important point, because it seems that people do not understand the concept of this game by some comments I see on YouTube and other platforms, and that I am going to explain precisely for the novelty that this version brings. I want you to understand that this is an infinite game. By this, I mean that the game is designed to be endless in many of the game disciplines. So, what is the goal of a game that has no end? The objective is the one you set yourself when designing your city. Evidently, it is also about entertaining, and for that reason there are disciplines that can be short, and I say it in quotation marks, as the contest of mayors or the design challenge, which are focused very specifically to sectors, groups, with certain tastes within the SimCity world. But other disciplines, such as club wars or trains, are intended to have no limit, that is, a limit that you can say, I have nothing more to do. You see, as we legal gamers, which you are the majority who watch this channel, get logically closer to level 20 on many Club Wars cards, the developers will come out with or new attacks or expand the existing ones, or there will be something that will cause there to be no limit in that discipline. It will happen, and it happens with Club Wars, it will happen and it happens with trains, it happens with buildings that can be placed thanks to the mayor's passes that are created every month. It happens with specializations, and maybe in the future it will happen with more things. Why? Very simple. If you reach the maximum of what the game allows, the game would become boring and probably it would no longer make sense to you, that discipline of the game. And if it is a discipline that motivates you to play, you would probably stop playing. Many, I'm sure, might not quit the game, but it wouldn't motivate them in the same way. And others might quit the game. And that's precisely what developers don't want, and so they introduce more and more complicated things to achieve in order to match very advanced gamers with others who are not so advanced. Besides, there are many additional reasons. This is enough for a book, and in fact I have already read documents that talk about this that I am explaining to you. Of course, this has a downside, and it is that people can give up precisely because they see that the game is impossible to finish. In fact, I know gamers who have left the game because of this, but you have to understand this concept of game, which is very particular and, by the way, very studied. With this in mind, in a game like this, the goal is set by you. You, your goals, satiate your creative goal, or simply play the different disciplines of the game. Any goal is lawful, and any gives meaning to this game for each gamer. But don't ever seek to say, something that was said a lot in the 90s, I've made the game. Because SimCity, let alone SimCity BuildIt, is designed that way. There was a user on YouTube who told me that for him it made no sense to have to wait 2 days to expand a building. Well, perfect then, as I was telling him, this is not a game for you. You can play a Tetris or a Parcheesi, which is a game that starts and ends in a while. Or you can even play a classic Unreal, which in a few weeks, or months, depending on your skill, you will finish it. These are radically different game concepts because SimCity BuildIt is a creative game, above all creative. And I tell you all this because if you don't understand this concept, the game can be frustrating for you. You might not even understand constructions or items that exist in the game and think that you are doing something wrong or that the developers are very bad at making the game. And neither one thing or the other. Everything here is measured, and very much so. The way to play a game like this is to set yourself a goal, or simply enjoy creating, getting challenges, making city designs, generating a special city that you would like to see, or doing battles with teammates. There is a gamer in my branch club who is determined to create the perfect city. In fact, that's what he calls himself. And the truth is that this motivation is what moves a gamer to enjoy a game like SimCity BuildIt. This long introduction is due to the fact that the first novelty that has been implemented in this update, and I have classified it in Novelties, is precisely what I am telling you about. I could have put it in the improvements category, but I think it is more appropriate in Novelties precisely because it is something that is intended as an add-on that only offers that the game does not have a clear limit. That is, it is aimed at hackers or people who are accumulating and no longer know what to invest in. The developers have introduced from this new version 2 new skyscrapers in monuments. One is green, legendary emerald skyscraper. Here I show it to you. And another one is yellow, golden rather, legendary golden skyscraper, that here you can see it. The green building costs 2,000 SimCash to put it in your city, and the golden one costs 2 million simoleons. Are they nice buildings? Yes. Do they justify their price? Not at all. But it is true that there are many mayors who begin to accumulate many coins and have no incentive to spend. 2 years ago, I had in Atlantis, my first city, the original one, 8 million simoleons with little effort. Then, what happened to me is that I did not care to continue accumulating, and with my other cities I had where to invest, so my coins, my simoleons, have already decreased. And if I remember correctly, I think it is now around 3 million simoleons, and I always transfer to this one from there, because this city that you see, my city Tis, is very spendy because I am growing it very fast and it always requires money. But not everybody does what I do. And for those people who don't know what to do with the money they earn, either simoleons or SimCash, because they don't have a clear incentive that stimulates them to spend that accumulated money. For all of them, these 2 towers are designed. Look, these 2 towers can be built up to 6 of them. But you know that the price in SimCity BuildIt is always ascending, thinking in that concept of infinite game that I explained before. So, if you spend 2 million simoleons on the Golden Tower, the second one costs 5 million. This is true. I have already checked it. Moreover, they are buildings that do not offer any extra contribution to the city. If you look at their characteristics, they are like that, and they specify it clearly. Is it a skyscraper for you? Not for me, but there are certain gamers who might be interested, and that's why they have been created. More than those 5 million that the second golden skyscraper costs, I don't know. I don't know how much it will cost to put the 3rd, 4th, or 6th skyscraper, but I imagine it will cost a lot, but a lot. I will find out shortly. For all this, I analyze this feature as a novelty. Now let me give my score to the novelty categories. In interest of novelty, I give it a 5. In execution of the novelty, I give it a 10. And in impact of the novelty, I give it a 5. The interest of the novelty, as I said, will only be interesting for a few, some very specific gamers, so a 5 is a reasonable score. In execution of the novelty, as there has not been any incidents when creating it, as far as I know, apart from the fact that it is a novelty certainly simple to implement, then there is no more score than the maximum. And in impact of the novelty, which is how people see this novelty, I hope that with my explanation people can understand a little more the reason for this novelty. Many people did not make sense of these monuments. I hope that now they understand it a little better. Obviously the impact is simple. I think that's why a 5 is right. The last category of pre-novelties, I can't analyze it because we don't know pre-novelties at the time of releasing this update, so it remains without scoring. We enter the changes to the user section. where in the first category I analyze the Mayor's Pass. This time the pass is about Ireland. Whoever likes it is in luck, with very remarkable buildings like the Doctor's Abbey, which is Kylemore Abbey. I hope that in English it matches the Spanish because I'm not sure, or St. Patrick's Rock of medieval architecture. They don't give them the original name, I don't know why, but those are the ones. They are good reproductions for SimCity BuildIt. I think they will be a great attention, for good. There are no changes in the price of the paid passes, at least not in Spain, so I think it will be the same in the rest of the world. And the cards that go with them are 10 of 16 tons and 40 of Flying Vu Robot in the Premium Pass and 10 of Blizzaster in the Premium Plus Pass. Therefore, my score is a 10. As sometimes happens at the beginning of a new Mayor's Pass, this time there are no events, so I can't evaluate them. There will be new buildings as weeks go by, but in the first week, which is when I do this review, there have not been, so I cannot score this characteristic. The playability remains the same, there are no changes, so I can't score it either. So let's move on to the next section on fixes and improvements. The first characteristic, bug fixes, is left unanalyzed because I haven't really seen any bugs that have been fixed. I'm sure there will be small internal issues that they will have fixed, but not that we gamers have detected. Now, let's move on to the improvements of this version. There have been some new decorative landscape buildings, which are the bluebell trees, which cost 50 SimCash, which occupies 1 square, and 100 SimCash for the bluebell forest, which occupies 2 by 2 squares. These are 2 decoration items that add to the list of landscaping items, which is why I've put it in this category of game improvements. My score is a 5. It's minimal, not something that's necessary or visually so noticeable that it's worth more score, but not so that it's worth less score either. I consider that below 5 is when it's a mistake. And this is not, it's just a simple landscaping item. In graphics, I leave it unscored. While the previous landscaping items could be scored here, I think if I did that, I would be double scoring something that doesn't deserve as much mention. So we move to the defects and bugs section. Here I have to mention that quite a few visual problems have already been discovered with the trains, which have not yet been fixed. Seeing that this update was a minor release, I thought they were not going to fix them, but I think they have been around for a long time now and should be fixed. It has already gone from something that you overlook because the trains are starting to something that becomes urgent to rectify. But also the problems that many gamers have with the commercial buildings are still present after the update. I can't install neither the sports shop nor the toy shop like many other gamers. I don't really mind because it gives me a certain advantage in some aspects that I am trying to take advantage of, but it is still a big bug that has not been solved. So, my score here is a 0. Regarding the trains bug, I explained it in a video, the bug in the trains, one of them, and there are quite a few more. It's video 7.12.1 if you want to know what I'm talking about. I'm almost sure that when this video comes out, that bug analysis will already be out. If not, it will be about to. I leave the link in the description. And both other bugs and the other section are not analyzed because this version does not bring anything else with it. So without further comments, there were 35 points obtained in 6 characteristics analyzed, which gives a total score of 5.83. This is a very normal version. When minor versions are released, the contribution of the Mayor's Pass in the update usually gives a good score, but you can see that it carries serious problems. If you like this review, give me a like, subscribe to the channel and hit the little bell to be notified when I upload a new video. We remain expectant of the major update, which will probably be the next one to come out, where we expect really important fixes, which hopefully will be worth to be counted. Hopefully it will be accompanied by a good Mayor's Pass and why not, some interesting novelty. I hope you liked this review. Thank you for watching the video to the end. See you at SCBI. Greetings to all.